Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to The Walk. Today is Friday, April 18th, and today we're going to be talking about the altar. And I've got quite a few notes here, so we're just going to jump right in. There was a note for verses 13 to 17 in both the Cultural Study Bible and in the Apologetic Study Bible. So the Cultural Study Bible said, although the technical vocabulary for the altar is similar to that found in Akkadian, the altar of Ezekiel is most similar to that of Solomon's temple. The length of the sides is similar in both cases, while the horns were a common motif in altars in the Levant. Though the altar is large, it is not as large as Solomon's and is comparable to those archaeology has uncovered. In the Apologetic Study Bible, it says, this section presents the dimensions of the altar of sacrifice in the restored temple. Ezekiel's blueprint raises the issue of why sacrifices would be reinstated in the end time since Christ fulfilled them. And we can see that in Ephesians 5:2, Hebrews 9:26, Hebrews 10:5, 8, 12, and 26. The Israelites were called to be the Lord's kingdom of priests and the vehicle for his blessing on all peoples. But through the centuries, their understanding of this calling became distorted under the pressures of history, especially that of foreign occupation. As a result, Israel never fulfilled its missionary purpose under the Old Covenant interpreters who view Ezekiel's prophecy as a prediction of future end-time events. Look ahead to the millennial kingdom when Israel, recognizing Jesus as the Messiah, will reestablish the sacrificial ordinances of their covenant in remembrance of his redemptive work. Other commentators taking a different approach see Israel's calling to be a kingdom of priests fulfilled in the Church of Jesus Christ in 1 Peter 2:9 and Revelation 5:10. In this view, Ezekiel's description of the restored temple, altar, and sacrifices points to the priesthood of a new covenant community. So why is there sacrifices here? Because we've got this new priesthood that's going to be ushered in. And I talked about this a few weeks ago. I am not 100% sure why there's a need for sacrifice, given that Christ was the final sacrifice on that cross. I'm still trying to figure it out. Any comments about any ideas, I welcome. I have read an enormous amount of commentary, and there's just a lot of debate about it. It's kind of uncertain. What I do know is when we get to those times, it's going to be revealed, and we're going to understand it. So what we don't understand now, we will understand at some point. Verse 13. These are the measurements of the altar by cubits, the cubit being a cubit and a handbreadth. Its base shall be 1 cubit high and 1 cubit broad, with a rim of 1 span around its edge, and this shall be the height of the altar. From the base on the ground to the lower ledge, 2 cubits, with a breadth of 1 cubit, and from the smaller ledge to the larger ledge, 4 cubits, with a breadth of 1 cubit. And the altar hearth 4 cubits, and from the altar hearth projecting upward 4 horns. The altar hearth shall be square, 12 cubits long by 12 broad. The length of the ledge shall also shall be square, 14 cubits long by 14 broad, with a rim around it, half a cubit broad, and its base 1 cubit all around. The steps of the altar shall face east. So the ESV Fire Study Bible has this explanation for the burnt offerings. The idea of participating again in the ritual of animal sacrifices after Christ himself has already made the highest and final sacrifice has been a difficult issue for interpreters. Some insist that the sacrifices described here cannot be literal or actively a part of real life because Jesus' perfect sacrifice for sins fulfilled all of God's requirements and made Old Testament sacrifices obsolete, i.e. no longer necessary. And that's in Hebrews 9:10 to 15 and Hebrews 10:1 to 4, Hebrews 10 verse 8. Perhaps Ezekiel is using Old Testament terms to describe the benefits of Christ's atoning sacrifice. That sacrifice is sufficient and effective for all time. Some believe that they will be literal physical sacrifices offered in memory of Christ's sacrifice on the cross. Again, we don't know. We're not really sure. We're going to have to figure that out as time goes on. And I'm noticing that we are already at 5 minutes. I try to keep my videos around 5 minutes. So we're going to finish this chapter next week. Today is Friday, so I'm going to remind you that there's no video tomorrow and Sunday, but I'll be back with you on Monday. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and keep walking the walk.